All right. Well, I'm sure by now most everybody has dipped their toe in the water a little bit in some form or fashion in the world of AI, whether you're doing that in your personal life or on the business side. And in the business world, you're likely thinking, how can I best use AI in my day-to-day work? What's the best format to do that? And I'm sure many of you are also encountering that the business is starting to ask you or other stakeholders, what's the best way that we can drive value with AI? And what I'm excited about today is we have a fantastic person who can help us in navigating some of those questions that we're asking ourselves and we're discussing in the business. I first met Christina Frohn when we were together in Munich at Salonis's Cellosphere event. She graciously co-hosted a luncheon with us, and so I'm very excited to introduce her to you today. All right, if you have not yet met Christina, she leads the AI strategy team for IBM Consulting in the DACH market. She's been collaborating with leaders at every level to guide digital transformation with generative AI. With over 10 years of experience in strategy consulting in different industry, she helps their clients to unlock AI value, shape future-ready operating models, bringing in the latest employee and customer experience approaches, and enables organizations to adapt with the necessary change management techniques in large transformations. Christina, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, thank you very much for having me, Christine. It's a pleasure
Yeah.
to be with you and share a little bit in this Voices of the Community session.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to get started with a question that we ask almost everyone that joins our sessions, which is, how did you first get introduced to process mining?
Yeah, so look, I mean, strategy is all about like insights, right? And where do you get insights? Well, having a look really at processes in detail and understanding how organizations are run. And that's how I got introduced first for like using like the inputs of like process mining back in the days and now process intelligence also enhanced with AI. And this is a like great source of input to help our clients like bridging also the gap between their business strategies and the large digital transformations that I'm working on mostly. So this is the one side. And then the other, obviously, if you want to implement with impact, you need to change processes and organizations, and that's then also the output if you want from the strategy work that I'm executing with my team. So really rethinking processes and organizations, and here again process mining is a great tool to continuously monitor what is actually happening, and especially in large digital transformations, tools are necessary to keep everyone up to date and also understand what's the insights that you can generate and feeding that back into the strategy in an endless loop. So that were my touch points with process mining from the very beginning, and it's still very useful, and I can assure you until today it's the basis for a lot of the work that we see upcoming also in AI and automation, because before you can actually start thinking about automating, you also need to understand very well how the processes look like that you would like to automate. And hence you can really only unlock the power of AI and automation with a very good understanding of process mining and process intelligence. So I see a bright future for that field coming ahead with this wave of AI and this fourth industrial revolution, how the World Economic Forum likes to call it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think there's so much innovation that is happening in the industry, and we actually see a great intersection with process mining and AI, not only to bring visibility at the beginning on the process, but really how you continuously improve and drive different outcomes for your business with using the both together. I know you're already working with clients in this area. So what are some of the best practices that you're speaking with your clients around how to integrate AI into the process improvement and digital transformation strategies?
Yeah, let me go a little bit back in time, right? We all had like this moment when like ChatGPT was launched and it was accessible for everyone. And obviously the AI wave started way before that, right? So if we think about like traditional AI, it's very much about analytics and how we look and generate insights out of the data that we are collecting. And if I look at my clients, like the year like 2023 and the beginning of 2024 was all about testing out what is the art of the possible from a technical point of view. So really like seeing, okay, is this technology ready to be used? Doing a lot of MVPs, pilots. Many of you probably also have seen, heard, or participated in some of those projects, because it was really exciting times from a technology point of view. There were new technical functionalities coming out on a very regular basis. The advancements also like in, for example, video creation and others like are really impressive to see the learning curves of these like models being fueled with generative AI capabilities, so summarization, content creation, and others. And this also was like obviously for a lot of my clients an interesting playground, but in the beginning more a playground with like heavy investment. So in other areas we haven't seen as much investment as an AI in the beginning. So there was a real hype and everybody was like out of the sudden aware, yes, AI is the next big thing, it's the next internet around the corner, and we need to get like ourselves familiar and need to test it out and find business purposes ourselves. And then if we look back at like the I would say mid to second half of 2024, there was like for any innovation curve this dip because like not everybody was able to realize actually the value that they were promising in the beginning. There was a lot of hype, there was a lot of like potential behind, but many organizations, and my clients included, well, have not figured out yet how to really unlock this value at scale. Because it's one thing to start a small MVP, a small prototype for one specific use case, but it's a completely different animal if you think about AI, same as like process intelligence at scale, right? If you're like doing one, yes, great insights, great like possibilities, but bringing it to an enterprise at a level where everybody has access to it and is able to use it in a responsible way is anything but easy. And this is now, I would say, the wave we're in now in 2025 and upcoming is it's very much about how do we scale the great ideas, the great use cases that are like promising a lot of potential in terms of value generation. And it's not only AI, right? It's like a combination of like different technologies, AI being one, but it's also a lot of automation that will help us to conquer this next age of like what we call agentic AI. And agentic AI, very easily explained for those of you who are not so familiar with the term, is like independent, like programmed automation that is conducted with like the help of AI and specific models that are trained for it. So it's really this like next level of you no longer need to trigger a process yourself as a human being, but like now like models are and the technology is advanced enough to like enter this era of programmed automation where you are almost guided through a process by like technology and not the other way around. You as a human being are guiding technology to help you complement specific tasks. So the driver's seat is changing a bit, and this is now a very interesting topic that everybody is trying to leverage as soon as they can, because like coming to the lessons learned, like speed is of the essence. Really all about like time to market for any like digital product, for anything that you can imagine. And the sooner organizations can really transform specific processes in this like programmed automated way, the sooner they can realize also the value and get like a cash back from the investment that they have made in technology. And this is ultimately obviously the goal, to have like have leaner processes, have the possibility to reinvest the capacity that they have gained, and also not only the capacity, ultimately also the cash back that is related to that.
There's so much opportunity ahead with the intersection of AI with processes. You mentioned kind of the most advanced version, if you will, where the driver's seat is changing. What are some other kind of, if you think about levels of engagement, with AI, what are ways that people can get started that you're seeing, where your clients are doing that?
Yeah, so we always like divide between like three levels of engagement. So the first one is, and you probably use it indirectly or directly every day, is a co-pilot. So be it Microsoft Copilot or others, ChatGPT, right? So you ask a specific request to an AI model to get an answer to a question. So the easy Q&A like questions that you can imagine, but it's also embedded in a lot of technology. So for example, the word complementation, like in your WhatsApps, or like the recommendations on Netflix or on Amazon, or like, I mean, all these like uses also the analytics part. And this is like co-piloting your life like on demand, if you have a specific request. The second one is going one step further. It's all about like AI assistance. So assistance helping you with a specific task, not only like question answer, you are still in the driver's seat, but it's really like either like fine-tuned model, or like a very like specifically prompted approach that helps to really think about automation of a specific task. So, for example, at IBM, we are having a lot of AI assistants at hand. So, for example, in my day-to-day work, if I want to like draft like a workshop for a client, like a strategy vision workshop, if we take this as an example, I have an AI assistant that I can ask to come up with like, what is the storyline for this workshop? This is the client contact, this is the setup, giving a little bit of explanation. These are the goals and objectives. And then my AI assistant is giving me a recommendation on what could be potential sections for an agenda. And then like you can like add different assistants, and I have another assistant who's then generating a PowerPoint presentation out of the storyline. I have another assistant who might create me a persona, because I want to do a persona-based exercise and really understand what the experience looks like in the end. So these are assistants that are like all like prepared for a specific task, but I still need to be conscious that they exist and embed them actively in my work. And then the last one we've talked about already before, because I'm super excited about it, and so are many in the AI community, is agentic AI, where it's really independent like assistants that are communicating with each other, and you can combine different AI agents to help complete tasks, and they can like really talk like human beings can talk to complete a task. So for example, like we are now doing this for an insurance company, and like if you have like an issue and you are claiming, for example, like for your insurance policy to pay because somebody has stolen your handbag, you can like upload the evidences, and then we have developed an AI tool with different agents that helps to understand, okay, what does my policy say? So there's a policy agent, there's a legal agent to understand what are the legal requirements for me based on Switzerland. In Switzerland, what like needs to be taken into consideration? Is the police report complete? There's another one that might be or more on another side. And these agents then talk to each other and solve the case and give the claims handling agent, on still a human being, on the insurance side, targeted recommendations. And what for us is super important, that the human stays in the loop. So every decision is made by a human, not by AI, but there are recommendations in this process. And here again, right, coming back to the processes as a basis, you need to understand what the process looks like, what are the different steps, and also the different options to then come up with this agentic AI design. So I hope that was understandable, diving a little bit deeper into the technical terms here, but it's really really exciting times, and these engagement layers really will change our world going forward.
Absolutely. And I think, as you, mentioned, humans will continue to be in the loop, regardless of these levels. Certainly the context, the business context, or whatever context that a human brings, really helps to guide and get us in the right direction with the value that we want to drive with AI.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of people at different companies that are obviously engaged with AI. What roles and departments do you see that are at the table today when we're discussing investment decisions for AI?
Yeah. So that was one of the first quiz questions most companies were asking themselves: who is
Mm.
responsible for AI? Who is
Mhm.
Mr. or Mrs. AI in an organization? And there's no clear answer to that, because ultimately it's like really this multidisciplinary game. So you've heard it with the different agents and the different competencies, and now taking it more at an organization level, like what I see in my day to day and engaging with like a multitude of different companies also on their C-level, to understand, okay, who should own the responsibility, like who's deciding what's like ultimately the AI strategy. And what's proven to be more successful is that diverse teams come up with better recommendations and strategies in AI, and also in the implementation on a day-to-day basis. And why is that? Well, now, like after we've all gone through the agile wave, and like all the projects have been set up in an agile fashion, many organizations learned how to really leverage like multidisciplinary teams in the best way possible. And now with AI, you really need this cross-disciplinary view, because for many organizations, the value is being generated in the business. And that hence also the investment like need to be taken to a certain extent as a business judgment, business decision, what to prioritize, what's the first use case to put on a list, what could be the next application that is customer facing that uses AI. These are all business discussions that need to be taken place. But then IT is a very important enabler, and you have even like more parties at the table. So risk and compliance. So what is actually an ethical usage of what we want to allow our employees to use AI for, and also what do we expose our customers? Because many of my clients, their main currency is trust. They're selling
Mm.
trust in their products, trust in their services. And like, you want to trust your bank, you want to trust your insurance, you want to trust your food company if you buy like food that you're like consuming. So in many of these ways, like trust is super important. So not misusing this trust aspect, and also protecting the brand, is super crucial. And consequently also this risk aspect is important. And ultimately also the experience, right? So like also looking at like designers, like be it experienced designers, visual designers, like how does it look and feel to interact with something that is human like but not really human? Like how do we want to use it? I mean, there are functionalities, for example, in Zoom you can generate your avatar, right? But do you want to talk to an artificial me, or do you want to talk to an actual me, right? That's a question we can ask ourselves.
Yes. I think, as you said, there's a lot of people that need to be at the table because each function brings a different perspective. It really helps us to overcome some of the blind spots that can happen when you're adopting new technology. In some ways, we're just in our early learning. We don't know what we don't know, but more minds at the table, I think, can help us to make the right decisions with the knowledge that we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. And also this execution on like ethical standards, like everybody
Mm.
is responsible, right? It's not something that like we can delegate away. Each and every one of us needs to check like regularly for biases, not trust the outcome of every request you make on a chat GPT or
Yeah.
on any other model. And I think this is something that like is really like needs to be very consciously like anchored in our minds on an
Hmm.
ongoing basis, because we all like share this collective responsibility to use the technology in a responsible way.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a great tie to some of kind of the tenets behind process mining, which really we want to remove the bias that we have in how we think processes work in our business and really look at data and facts to shed light onto how things actually are running so that then we can make improvements off of that.
Absolutely.
I know you obviously have clients that are underway. You talked a little bit about some of the lessons learned in the start of our conversation around speed. Is there anything else that you're hearing from your clients that they wish they would do differently after they've
Mhm.
gotten started?
Yeah, so I think also heavily debated topic is what's the risk appetite? Because I mean, I
Mhm.
talked a little bit about like the trust, the like difficulty in prioritizing and making the right decisions. And now that we're in this era that I was describing, that we have like technically we figured a lot of things out, and it's more a question of feasibility, so budget, if you can afford this technology to be implemented, and also what do you actually want to implement. And especially in this one, the risk appetite plays a very important role. And for many organizations, it's like this like bigger potential is very, very promising, but not all are courageous enough to make a bold move in that direction. And I think that's now something that like some of the clients that I accompanied in the last year, they may have regretted in the first year of investing in AI, that they have thought too small in like small use cases, in like standalone like applications, not thinking it's like big enough on really embracing this disruptive potential, and also to a certain extent cannibalizing your own business, right? Because if you change the service model and out of a sudden there's like a virtual customer service possibility that is maybe better than the human being, because it always has the right information, it's feeded only the information that is correct from what you're having, right? It's like they're on demand, you can have a chat or even a voice conversation at any moment in time at your fingertips. Well, it's ultimately completely different possibilities, and will change in many functions. And especially this like customer service domain was one that is now being affected quite a bit. And I think here this is a very promising area. Some of my clients are now embracing more and embarking on big time, and it will have fundamental change to their business model. So it's not only how we operate internally, no, it's also how companies will be set up to be profitable in the future. And this like shift, all based on the possibilities of AI and automation, and ultimately the processes lying underneath that give the possibility to rethink how we work.
Absolutely. Well, I want to switch gears for our last couple of minutes. This is a community, as you know, of women in process mining. So we've covered that piece, but certainly we also want to hear from you around what it means to be a leader in this technology space. If you could share with us some personal challenges that you faced and how have you overcome them?
Yeah. I mean, you see me, you hear me, right? It's undeniable. I'm like a young female executive in a world that is predominantly male, and also from an age range not as young and dynamic as we might wish for. And like I think here I like in the past and also still until today, right? I like still face challenging situations, and like being a little bit underestimated can be a very like powerful way of like not raising too high expectations, but especially in the context of having conversations with senior leaders, right, that have been maybe in IT or as CTOs for decades. And like imagine I'm entering the room with like the AI story and how AI and automation will change their world, and like it's really something where I feel it's challenging, because I always have to be extra competent in comparison to my old male colleagues, just to put it very bluntly out there, right? That just
Yes.
like get this authority by their presence for granted. And here like my tip to also leave you with something on how I'm using this is one, like I mean embracing the fact that like I'm not like the others, and I will never be, and that's fine, right? I like stay authentic, and I will not slow down my energy level or like my enthusiasm for a topic, because that's ultimately me and why I do what I like to do. But like for me, like it's super important to be well prepared. So I would never enter any of these conversations without like a very good understanding of like my client's context, the industry, like what are they facing, like who is my counterpart, what's the dynamics, what are the key messages that I want to send, and really preparing well also for, especially for these high level meetings where I know I will face some resistance and I need to convince people to buy into what like I would like to discuss with them. And it's not only like for like in a business or sales context, right? Because ultimately I'm a consultant, I'm an advisor. So I join companies and like they like invest in our services if they believe also in the quality of me and my team. So this
Mm.
like first impression is super important, because with that I feel I always have to champion also the whole team, and also strategy, right? If like it's sometimes perceived to be quite fluffy, like not very concrete, like are you really like able to implement things on a long-term basis? Do you really know how to run things in an IT delivery project? And I think these things you just like have to embrace, that you will get these questions asked, and be prepared on how to react and how to champion what you want to champion in any context.
Absolutely. It's kind of a place where you can relate to many of your clients because you're in a building trust business as they are as well with their clients as well. So I can imagine that preparedness and, ready for engagement mode that you come into really helps to establish the trust with your clients, that then you're able to tackle some big challenges together.
Yes.
I'll leave with one last question in this session. How do you recommend women in this field, or really in tech, how would you recommend they amplify their influence and create a lasting impact in their organization or their industry or in their specific field?
Yeah, we always do studies with our IBM Institute for Business Value on like many different things, and one of the latest study was like also on females and women in AI. And the shocking fact was that like on average we are undereducated in this technology.
Mm.
And so I think the starting point would be like just encouraging everyone to not shy away from the complexity or like the terms or anything that like is related to it, but really trying things out yourself and like educating yourself with all like the great things that are out there available for free, like and like provided by many different companies in the tech space, to know what you're talking about, because AI is not rocket science. And I mean, I have not been literate in AI like 5 years ago, right? It's something that everybody can learn, and I truly believe we will learn it as users sooner or later. And also for females to start really from scratch, it's absolutely fine, it's okay, just give it a go, and don't be shy to embark on this journey, because the future of AI and automation will be like shaped by those who are like now the first movers. So let's be
Mm.
all first movers and have a voice at the table when discussions are being made on what to prioritize, and preventing bias by having a voice is better than fixing it in the aftermath. So let's engage in AI, and same for like process intelligence.
Absolutely. What a great reminder that our voice matters at the table in a really big way. And certainly when there is new technology and new innovation, we bring a unique perspective and voice to the table that should be considered, which can help to reduce bias and really take some, business decisions forward. So thank you so much for sharing that, Christina. I really enjoyed learning from you, as I did when we first met, and looking forward to continue to learning from you and following the work that you're doing with your clients in this world of AI.